name is Zahgausgai, which means the sun ray. I'm Bear Clan. I'm from Wasauksing First Nation. But actually, living in the Muskokas. This is where my ancestor Maloney lived before he was put onto a reserve. I've come home to my ancestral homeland, I guess. Today we're going to talk about the winter solstice and what happens this time of year. Before I start, I want to remind us that we are the most intelligent people on earth by the way we transfer knowledge by word of mouth through storytelling. I always remind people it's like, computers. You have a computer with a small memory. It can't do as much as a computer with a bigger memory. So that's what we say. Because we memorize teachings and understandings, that takes a great deal of intelligence. And as human beings, we understand our memory isn't just in our mind, it's throughout our whole body. Our memory is extensive throughout our whole physical being. So a little example of that is scars. There's absolutely no reason for you to have a scar because your body can heal totally. That scar actually becomes a memory for you to be careful of how that happened. So I'm going to send this song out. This song says, who are going to be the strong-hearted ones? Who are going to be those ones? It's Zahgausgai Medewian. The Anishinaabe are going to be the strong-hearted ones, those ones who came from the scar world. So I'm going to begin this session with this song. In this song, think about yourself in a good way. Think of your gifts, and you've come here to do a purpose. I want you to remember that during this song. So get Binnoojiiyag meanwhile. So again, thank you for coming here today. We're going to talk a little bit about the winter solstice and what begins to happen at this time of year. But what happened when the snow came? Just before the snow came, we feasted our ancestors and all the spirit world, because we say the spirits go to rest when there's snow on the ground. And that beautiful white covering you see on Akikwe, now that's her blanket. It allows her to rest too. And most times it'll come before even the ground freezes. So sometimes you can dig down through the snow. It's easy to dig beneath that. So even the snow covers the earth. And we think of those animals who hibernate this time of year, especially my beautiful clan, the bear. He's sleeping right now. So we give thanks for that, those ones who hibernate underneath the ground. All the little animals, the reptiles who sleep at this time of year. We say miigwech to them. We ask that they can rest at this time. For those of us who stay awake all winter now, we think about ourselves. This is a time that we take time to honor all that is from the spirit world, and we do that through storytelling. The Anishinaabe word is atsokan, or the teaching. We give teachings at this time of the year. We tell stories. We can name spirits that we can't name when there's no snow on the ground. The trickster, Nanabush, we can say his name now because he's resting. He won't come and play tricks on us, eh? And then that one of his arch enemy, the Wendigo. We take care of that spirit too. We remember that so that one doesn't come in. Because this is the time of year that one used to come around until the Wendigo until the Nanabush put him to rest. But we still remember those ones, all those ones we talk about. And then that being spirits, we can mention their names now because this is the time of year when they're resting. So when the snow fell on the ground and our lodges were covered with snow, we had enough to make it through the winter. We'd worked hard all summer, spring, and fall to gather everything we needed to exist through the winter time. We hid them underground in caches or places where the men would go out and retrieve the food so we could come back. And for the most part, women and children and the old people stayed in the wigwams. And we did the storytelling at that time. We shared stories. So I'm going to set that learning environment up for you right now, because we've been conditioned to learn in rows and chairs and with a lecturer sitting in front of us. Just imagine right now you're sitting in your wigwam. Even if you're a child, maybe you're laying with your head on your mother's lap. Or if you're an adult, you're leaning back and you're against the ground. You've got your head resting and you're listening to the story. So we say at this time, get as comfortable as you can, just the way we used to do it. You'd be comfortable in your home. You'd be comfortable in your wigwam. So prepare to listen to that, to what we're going to talk about in that way. You're resting peacefully and quietly in your wigwam right now to listen to this story, what we're going to talk about at this time. But we say Akikwe too, she's sleeping. So in our wigwams, it's nice and warm. As we're close together, we're huddled together, and we're quiet as we listen to the stories that come from our aunties and our uncles and our grandparents. And even our children add to our stories too. A child might share something he's heard. So it's an open sharing of our stories to everyone. A child might say, I remember this story, and then they would tell what they knew, and we would listen to that. So it was an open sharing of storytelling. It wasn't just a teacher telling us everything. We shared stories back and forth of what we knew. And that ignited the memories of all of these stories, again reinforcing us as intelligent beings. But before I want to start our stories, I'm going to say probably this is the first one we would hear. The snow is on the ground. Our most favorite story of all is the creation story of how everything began. Maybe this was the first teaching we would hear as the snow is on the ground to remind us of the existence of everything, the existence of life, the existence of how everything is the way it is. So in this Atsokan time, this winter solstice time, when the sun is going to go quietly south, we're going to sing a song on the 21st, inviting him back north, that we want him to come. Even though he's going to come back up north, we still invite him. We do an invitation for him to come back. But during that time, we tell stories. We talk about Old Man Winter and how happy we are to see him and grateful that he's here. We give him our love to let him know this is a time of rest for our ancestors and the spirits, that he has a purpose. And it's our purpose now to share knowledge and the benefit of our collective intelligence as human beings and as piece of this creation. So the story begins even before our creation existed. Long before there were other creations. That's why we say our people are the most intelligent. We have an understanding of creations outside of this creation. Even before our creator became the creator, we knew there were ones older than that one, that there were times in the infinite understanding of what time is, that there were times even beyond this one. So we understand that. And we begin this way. We say there was this spirit. Maybe in this existence became in the Anishinaabe, we came to call it Bamadzwin or life. They say that the spirit wandered the universe. It wandered the star world everywhere. It wandered all over what was openly everywhere at that time. An immense understanding that we can't, as human spirits, even understand. But the spirit wandered everywhere looking for a home. And they say what it did was it traveled, it found a place to live, and it stayed there for a while. And then it said, no, this isn't right. So it left that place and it wandered some more. It traveled the universe looking for the right place, they say. So we put that out there as we begin this story, this wandering spirit traveling throughout the universe. And I begin like this, in this way we understand how we do our teachings. What happened a long time ago? There was a being who lived by itself. This being was in total darkness, in absolute darkness. And all around it were the sound of 1,000 shakers. The sound of 1,000 shakers in this absolute darkness was where this being lived. They say in the center of this existence, this being existed longer than we can imagine, longer than we as human beings can even fathom. This being formulated a thought because this being was alone. So this being sent out this thought. I wonder if there's anybody like me, is what this being sent out. They say this thought went out everywhere from that central being. And they say those thoughts went out, and this being sat for a long time, waiting for an answer to come, waiting for someone to say, hey, I'm just like you. But no answer came. They say you can still see these thoughts going out in the nighttime sky, the Anungok, the stars. They're still traveling outward from that being, looking for someone to say, I'm just like you. So we say that now, this being waited for an answer and none came. Now this being had a second thought. It had a quizzical thought, and it wondered, I wonder if I can create anything like me, is what it thought. And this thought too went out. And this is where we understand ourselves, we intelligent beings, because beings even older than this one heard this thought. They heard this second thought. And they came to this being and they said to it, we've heard your thought, and you can create something like you, is what they said. And what they did was they rolled out this tremendous scroll, this birch bark scroll, larger than we can imagine, so detailed that we can't even fathom all the detail that was in this. To look at this whole scroll would be to look at all of creation, right down to the tiniest speck of sand that's in this creation. So they rolled it out in front of this new being and they said to this being, look at this. This is the blueprint to your creation. If you use what you see here, your creation will work. Look at this, is what they said. But you're also free. You're free to choose. You can experiment. You can try things. You can create things on your own, they said to this being, and see how they work. That's what they mentioned to this being. So as this being sat there looking at everything, looking at this giant scroll, they say this spirit came, and this spirit wandered all over the scroll. It sniffed at everything. It even turned the scratches over and looked underneath the scratches. This being looked at it everywhere, and it crawled underneath the scroll, looked underneath the scroll too. And when it was satisfied, it looked up at the new being, and it said to the being, Aha, Gimachtada, Minopamadzwin, Oma. They said, look at this. Everything is good here. Everything is good in here. What you see is life, is what this one said. So who spoke at that time was Manadomakwa, the spirit bear. That's why we hold Alvin so close to us in our understanding here on Turtle Island. That black bear is one who gave the creator the authority to go ahead and begin the creation, because the bear saw that scroll and everything on that scroll as a good thing. That's why we come to know this Bamadzwin, this creation, would be Minnow Bamadzwin, would be the good life. So then they say that's when that being became what we know in English as the creator of all things. And we know that's the first side of what things that bring spirit into this reality. Those are the creators, that side of the duality that creates new things. But the creator had a thought even before that understanding of that very concept itself of duality. The creator saw in that blueprint night and day, black and white, all those things that were opposite to each other. The creator saw those. But the Creator used them in this creation as a complementary way. Each side would need the other side. The male and the female, those two would exist complementary. The duality exists in a way that if one side disappears, the other side will wither and die. That's how we understand it. So in the duality of our understandings, we know that the creation exists complementary. Everything fits together. Even those spaces in between belong to both sides, we say. So with that knowledge, the Creator created the first thing, the Ishkode, the first heart, the great ball of fire in the sky. Is what the Creator created. So we know that is Jesus, the Son. And the Creator marveled at what she had created, and she looked at him and waited for him to say to her, "Hey, I'm just like you." But Jesus didn't say anything. He just put forward that great energy of warmth that he sends out, and he contentedly did that. So the Creator created the next thing. What the Creator created was Akikwe, the earth. The Creator created the earth, and she saw that, and she beamed at that, for she knew that too was a beautiful thing. So she sat and she waited for Akikwe to say, "I'm just like you," but no answer came. So the Creator took four spirits, Wabinedo, Jawanedo, Ningabino, Binnoojiiyag. She took a spirit and placed it in the east. She took a spirit, placed it in the south. She took a spirit, placed it in the west. And she took a spirit and placed it in the north. And we know those as the four directions, or nowadays it's called the medicine wheel. She took that and she placed that on the earth. And then she waited for him to say, "I'm just like you." But the four directions didn't answer her. The four directions just did their work, letting things go apart and then pulling them back together again, what they did. Because there's a center that reminds us at the center of those four directions is where we belong. We maybe feel scattered at times, but we'll get pulled back together when we find our balance. The Creator created that on this earth. So then the Creator didn't hear him answer, so she created the next one. In the sky, they say, created Nokomis, Dnaagdawenmag, the nighttime sun, the one that would shine at night. She created that one, and that one circled Akikwe as her grandmother. So the Creator created that and waited for her to answer her. But Dnaagdawenmag didn't say anything. Dnaagdawenmag just beamed contentedly down on the earth at her daughter. They say no answer came from her either. So then the Creator turned her attention to the sky world. Many things you see in the sky world, Nungoka. Outside of her original thoughts, you'll see other things that she created in the sky world, because those had a place in this great creation first, this great universe. She saw the need for them. Each one she created, she waited for each one to answer her, and each one didn't. That's how we know the story takes so long. It takes so long to tell. So the Creator then turned her attention to the earth. And they say, what happened now? That wandering spirit that had traveled the universe, it had traveled everywhere looking for a home. When I spoke about at the beginning of our talk, it saw Akikwe. It had seen what the Creator had created. And it decided, that's where I will live. That's where I'll spend my time forever, is what that spirit said. So that spirit who came known as Bamadzuin, as life, it came to settle in the earth, they say. So that spirit came here and found its forever home. So we know now in our understandings and our knowledge that this is where life will always be. And when you study Earth's history, as ancient as it is, there are also 7 great epochs or 7 great fires we talk about, where there were 7 mass extinctions in our history. Fire, ice, water, other things, winds. You'll hear that time when life was almost wiped out, but she recovered. The last great ice ages that covered the entire world, even before the more recent ones we know about. They say only 2% of life existed after that one. But look at us now. It's a full world of life again. So we know this is where life is, and life is where to stay. So that spirit being came here to live on Akikwe, and we know this is its forever home. We know that there will always be life here. So with that in mind now, then, the Creator used that spirit, used that energy. She turned her attention to the waters, because the waters came from the 3rd level above creation, but also they squeezed out of her, Akikwe. So they say when the Creator created the ball of fire in the sky, Akikwe, came the water. And they say within the water now the Creator turned her attention and created, with the help of that spirit, life. She, using the duality, she created two swimmers. One swimmer, they say, sank to the bottom of the ocean and floated in the currents. They say those ones came the shkikik, the medicines, or the plants. They say what they did is they touched the bottom and took root. Even as they floated in the water, what they did was they put Neswin into the water. Before the plant life came, there was nothing could breathe the water. Water had something in it that nothing could breathe, that wouldn't support life. But with the plants, they say, plants put breath into the water. And even some of the Neswin they put in the water, some of that escaped out of the water into the air. But they say the plants put the Neswin in the water so that things could breathe. And that say it has beautiful green plants, and there are other varieties of colors cover the bottom of the ocean, floated on the surface of the oceans. And they say there came a time too when they climbed up on the land. They climbed onto the land, covered the earth, and they gave her beautiful green covering, is what they say. Our earth now had two colors, a reflection of the sky world, blue, and green for the color of the plants, is what they say. So now this happened. I want to remind you, each plant that was created, the Creator waited for that one to say, hey, I'm just like you. Again, reminding you why the creation story takes so long, because she waited for everything she created to tell her, I'm just like you. So even the smallest little plant that was created, that one didn't say, I'm like you. And each plant that came successfully along, they didn't answer the Creator's question of, are you just like me? So that's why our creation story takes so long. But we say these plants, these mshkikik, they knew something, even when they were created in that ancient beginning time of our Earth's history. As each one was created, they knew someone was coming in the distant future. Someone is going to use us, is what they said. And who they were talking about were the Anishinaabe. Those ones who would be coming from the sky world someday. Those would use them for various reasons, for food, for medicines, for mijam, mimamshkikik. So these plants knew that in their futures, someone would use them in a good way to create this minobamazwin that we see in this life nowadays. So after the earth was covered in this color, beautiful green, they say, and Neswin was in the air. The air was breathable, both underwater and above water. The Creator took the second swimmer and created those ones that moved around underneath the water, those ones that swam through the water, crawled on the ocean bottoms. He created those ones next, one by one. Each time, waiting for each one to say, I'm just like you. But they didn't say that to her. Each one came into this being. And one by one they were created, they say. So what happened though? Some of them crawled up onto the land after a while. They say what they did. They crawled up onto the land. And they say, however you look at creation, when you hear this in our teaching world, you'll hear creation the way you look at life. Some people see it as evolution. Some people see it as what they call it, spontaneous, it happens. But however you look at creation story, you'll hear it in the way that you hear it. I remember the very first time I ever heard the creation story in its fullest. I saw a baby coming down the birth canal. That's what I saw. That was the vision I received when I saw that creation story for the first time. And who you are sitting there listening to hear the creation story in the way that you see creation, the way that you see life coming into this way. So what happened now? On the earth now, they say, for example, the early animals had many legs, the millipedes, the centipedes. They say they were giant centipedes, 6 feet long, millipedes, 6 feet long. They crawled on the earth with their many feet. And at the same time, there were others who only had 1 foot that travel on the earth, leaving slime, gooey slimes in their trails, snails, slugs. They say those ones crawl on this earth at first. They say as time went by, though, the number of legs became fewer. That there were some animals had 10 appendages. There are some that had 8, and then down to 6, and then down to the 4-leggeds, and then they say the 2-leggeds. And they say that's the way it came as time went on. The legs fell away from the animals until they were the 2-leggeds. They say the 2-leggeds could run. They could run so fast, they say, that they took great strides, that there were great distances in between their steps. It looked like they could fly. And then they say that's what happened. Eventually they could fly. So that they became the flyers we flew through the sky world. Those ones who flew through the breath, and that's when they became the birds. So the Creator did this all. She created everything one by one, until in the end, she created the flyers. Those flew through everywhere here. And they say each time each one came into being, she paused and waited for that one to say, I'm just like you. But no answer came to her. So she continued her creation. So we know who we are as Anishinaabe, as people who are placed here on Turtle Island. We know we're here. And we often wonder, how did we get here? Who are we? And in our ancient stories, the creation stories specifically, it lets us know who we are and where we come from, how we got to be here. So they say what happened then. The Creator in her wisdom had given all of the gifts away. Every plant has a gift. Where it stands in the soil, it takes something from there that only it uses, they say. And they say each animal has its place in the circle, that only it sits there, this great circle of life, they say. So by that time the Creator had created the great circle of life and everything was in this place, there were one final one to create. That was us, the human being. Binnoojiiyag, us that she had left to create. So what she did then, inside her womb, and we know in our stories in Anishinaabe, there were two beings who had yet to be created during that whole time I've talked about. They sat side by side in the Creator's womb together, and they got to know each other as sister, as brother, and they came to know each other intimately as in that relationship of brother and sister. So who that was Miigwech. Miigwech was the last one created, they say. And I forgot to mention, Miigwech is, that spirit bird, because back before there was life on this earth, back before life found this place to live, the Creator sent a Dnaagdawenmag all over this creation. That Dnaagdawenmag dropped seeds all over this earth, little seeds that fell everywhere in the oceans and on the land. They say those little seeds became the physical beings you see in creation today. If you look outside and you see that shingwalk out there, that white pine, it fell on this earth a long, long time ago as a seed. Just like us as human beings, our seed was planted on the earth, our physical seed, a long, long time ago. So Dnaagdawenmag did that. And then after that happened, that's when physical life came into this creation to augment that spiritual life that had already chosen it, this Okiikwe, as its forever home. So what happened now again? The last Miigwech, the second last one created, it was his time to come into this creation. As he flew out of the Creator's womb into this life, it turned and yelled behind him, don't forget me. Don't forget me when you get to creation, it said to the human being. If you're ever in trouble, look for me. I will come and help you as best I can, it said. And it came into creation. So we look around the world now, we see how the Miigwech is in many places. It's in countries' coats of arms. It's in family coats of arms, symbolism, icons. You see Miigwech everywhere. That eagle is everywhere. Because human beings, we remember that promise. So then the Creator created us. But the Creator in her intelligence gave us intelligence. Remember the way we were created as human beings. There were 4 times the Creator did this. The Creator took the 4 natural elements. She took the fire, the earth, the water, and the air. And with her beautiful hands, in the palm of her hand, she created the most beautiful form. That form of the human being, the human form. And then what she did, she blew 4 elements from herself into that form. First thing she blew into that form was her spirit. Then she blew her mind, her thinking into that form. And then she blew her breath into that form. And then she blew her heart into that form. So we're made up of the 4 earth elements and the 4 spirit elements. And they say the Creator took that first one. The one we come to know today is Wabshka. And when we first met them, we knew they were coming. Wabshka was a term of endearment. wasn't a derogatory racist term. It meant that as a term of endearment, the Wabshka. That the Creator created that one to be our older relative. And that one, when it hit the earth, it moved outward from the Creator with a great speed. The Creator knew that his gift was movement. He could move through creation, see how to get from here to there faster than his other brothers. So the Creator did it a second time, the 4 earth elements, the 4 spirit elements. And when she lowered that one to the earth, that was the Kshashka, the blue one, or nowadays they say the black one. When that one landed on the earth, he was almost as fast as the Wabshka. What slowed him down was he looked around and took everything in with his eyes. Because he did that, the Creator saw that his gift was intelligence. He can take in with his eyes and use his mind to process what we see in this modern world. Everything he can do, he can turn it into something by using his intelligence. He'd say that was his gift, intelligence. So the Creator did that a third time. And this third one had a yellow, almost like an aura, Ozawa. The Creator took the 4 earth elements and the 4 spirit elements, lowered that one to the earth. That one walked deliberately, like it knew where it was going to be in all of this creation. It walked in such a way it knew where its footsteps would be. So the Creator saw that this one understood what time was. It understood time. That was its gift. So then the Creator turned her attention now to the last one, which she had left now. We know this about ourselves. We had a collective name before we were created. Musquaabo, the red one standing, is what we were, even before we were created as a people. That way we would be here on earth, the last of the 2-leggeds, the one that would strive and stand up as much as possible. The standing red ones is what we are known by. In our lifetime, as much as we can, we will stand up as much as we can, so that even at the end of our lives, we will stand up and walk out of ourselves to the spirit world. Musquaabo, the red one standings, is who the Creator saw as a spirit being. So the Creator took the 4 earth elements, fire, earth, water, and air, and then she blew her 4 elements into that one, her spirit, mind, her heart, and her breath. They say that she lowered this one down to the earth. But this one, when its feet touched the earth, that one just turned around and grabbed her leg. It didn't want to come into creation. It didn't want to come into life. There was something made it want to be here. So when the Creator saw that fear, the Creator said, no shit. I see a fear in you. Something is going to happen to you, is what you see. The Creator saw that. The Creator said, I see by your actions, your gift is intuition. The gift of having knowledge without how you got to know how to have this knowledge, is what the Creator said. So the Creator took that little one and pushed that one away from her leg. She gave it a little push. And that little one took 4 steps and then turned back to look at the Creator. Because we looked at the Creator, we turned back and looked at the one who created us. The Creator said to us, no shame. I need you to go into this creation. That's what Creator said to us. I need you to go there. I want you to take care of everything I've created. Everything that's been created, right up to your older brothers. Look after them too. That's what the Creator said to us. So with that, we were charged with purpose. We became into this creation that we would look after it for our one grandmother, the one who created us. So that's what we did. We came into this creation to look after creation. So that's why we say we carry this teaching of creation, the story of the 4 colors, of how we were all created. Because we promised the Creator we would look after everything that was created. And that's what we remember to do. So now we think about our creation story, how long it took, how long it was. And we remember the whole original being. Because when the Creator created us, Musquaabo, we became what we know. Anishinabek, those ones who came from above. And the original one was Anishinaabe, he who came from above. And at a later time, when he had become a part of this, he understood himself as a living being. That was when she came, Anishinaabe, she who was Lord from above. Because she came under her own volition, is what we say. for a while there, and we know him as Wewe Nabosho. He walked the earth by himself at first, and he had a friend with him who walked for a while, a brother named Mayingan. Together they walked this earth side by side in the beginning time. But as Wewe Nabojo came accustomed to this place, he became what we call in his modern time to understand what it was to be a human being. Then it was time for Mayingan to go his own way. Mayingan had his own people, his own way. So they parted ways, but still they walk in a parallel way, side by side at a distance. Mayingan walks beside Anishinaabe. So Wewe Bojo then now, as he had become a human being, he knew he was going to have a partner. And they say that's where she came from. She sat beside Jesus, her father, the fire keeper. She sat there, and when the time came, she agreed to come to this earth. But she asked Wewe Bojo to promise her something. He promised her that when she got to earth, he would court her every day of her life. He would do all that hard work for her. He would honor her. And in that way, she would stay here in this living world. So they say that's when Anishinaabe came down to this earth. She left her father. She left that great ball of fire in the sky. She came down and walked on this earth. And they say for the first time, there was woman's footprints on this earth. They say when Kiche Manado, the creator, saw her walking on the earth, the creator said, she's there. And the creator gave her the gift of creation. So women became the creator in this world, the creators of life. Nothing can come into this world. No spirit can come into this world except through that doorway. We know by the birthing of those little children. We know by the birthing of sacred items. It's the women who bring the spirit of that into this place because they are the creator in this world. So we know that that's how we came to be. And as those two walked by side, Anishinaabe and Anishinaabe, and they created. In the original ones, they say they created were the four brothers. Majikwis, the oldest brother, the one who knows about being the older brother to everything. They say they created him as Anishinaabe first. And then after that, they created Chibiabos, the storyteller, the judge, the one who understood fairness in this creation and the balance of that. And the laughing, the playful one, Papikwis, the dancer and the jokester. He came into this world dancing and spreading his good energy everywhere. And then finally they say that was when the last one came in. Manabush was created, the trickster, the one who would look after us, be our protector as human beings, do everything to keep us safe and healthy. He was the last one that came in. The trickster was the last one. And we know at this time of year, we can share his stories, the Nanabush stories, the trickster stories. So those were the first ones. And they say what came after that were the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren of the original human beings, all the way on down to us. And they say as we spread across this great land, this great place, they say, the Creator gave us all our own ways. Every nation you see here on Turtle Island, the Creator gave them their way, because the Creator understood us as intelligent beings, that there would be no one way, because all of the ways that there are in this creation is a testament to the intelligence of all human beings, that we understand that we all have our different ways, right down to each one of us as individuals. Like I said earlier on, we'll hear this creation story in the way you look at creation. That's a testament not only to your intelligence, but to the collective intelligence of all of us. So we know now that's how we are. That's who we are in this creation. So we say that and we give thanks. We give thanks for those Binnoojiiyag who continue to come here, because we say there was a story happened to us. It's happened to our brother Mahinga. When the newcomers came here, they didn't understand how to fit in creation. They weren't well at that time. They came here with a great sickness. It almost weakened us, almost to extinction, this great sickness that they carried. But we knew by staying who we were, we could spread that goodness that we have at Binnoojiiyag. And you see that. Because what happened, they say, we became very few of us at one time. That happened to Mayingan. And what happened at one time They placed a bounty on Mayangan's fur. They did that to us. They placed a bounty on our hair. If they could provide that hair of our people, they could have the land that our people lived on. That's what happened. They say, so just like Mayangan and ourselves, we grew very few. But they'd say now, as many of us, we're coming back. We're having children. We continue to have children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. That is our gift of the creation, the gift of the Creator, Anishinaabe. She continues to bring life into this world, and we give her thanks at this time. As we sit in our wigwam, we think of this time that's coming. Everything that's coming to us that's going to help us through the winter came from Akikwe, Mother Earth, who's resting right now. Everything came from her, too. It's Shimanado, the Creator, the one who creates. As in the newcomer, in the way he thinks in the way he speaks, the male and the female. He has the duality in his own mind, that there's a creator and there's one who takes things apart. That's how he looks at things. So you hear about the creator was the first being. We know that our creator is a woman. The creator is that side. And the creator, in her immense understanding, knew that the male side would exist. And to be balanced, the creator knew that the male had to think in his own way, that he would speak in the masculine. He would see things in the masculine. He would talk that way. The creator gave that to him. She understood that's the way he would be in balance. So the two, the woman and the man, balance each other in a complementary way. But we know in our understanding of the great creation, before there was the masculine and the feminine, it was what they call amorphous. It was all mixed together. There was no one or the other or in between. It was all the spirit. Then when the duality came of the male and the female, that was the duality. And then even after that, there was the third way. Those who could see both sides. Those who could be both sides and those who could be neither side. That's what the Creator gave to us when she taught us the duality. So we see that in our creation. And remind ourselves, in English, they have that, he and the she. In our language, it's about life. It's all about life. Everything lives in the way the Creator created all of us. So we do that at this time. We honor creation and who we are as we're sitting in our wigwams listening to the stories. And we add to that. We add questions. We say things. We wonder about life. And during this time of understanding our creation, we listen to our children, what they know. As they bring teachings into this place. We know through listening to our children, we will all have a greater future. We will all be here. Because we think of this time. At one time we were almost gone, but we're here. We see in the great diverse way the Creator created us, the way the Creator created the creation. Every human being represents some element of that. So we give thanks for that as we take this time to listen to our stories over the winter, listen to what's coming next in our storytelling. Later on, maybe in the middle of winter, when we're running out of food, share stories of Nanabush and the Wendigo. Remind us to have good, strong minds. Remind us about how important our nutrition is to us and how we use our media to keep ourselves healthy in body, mind, and spirit. So for now, that's as far as we're going to go today. Remember this part of the creation story. But I want to remind you what I told you was very short. Many things have been left out. So don't think this was the full story or the full teaching. You need to go into your wigwams, your longhouses, your lodges, your teepees, to listen to them in the language. Don't be shy to go there even if you don't have your language, because your spirit understands the language. You'll hear it at your spirit level. Maybe 3 or 4 days later, you'll dream about what you heard. So they say, don't be shy, even if you think you don't know our language, to listen to these teachings from our language. So let's say miigwech now. I'm going to finish with this song, and I'm going to open it up for questions after that if you'd like. And this song is the prophecy song. The song says, Ombe Majada, Jibwa Biraban. Let's get going. There's a new day coming. That new day is those children we work for, those children we work with. Let's get going. Let's get our bundles together so they can have a good life, is what we say in this song. But in that way, remember when you were a child. Remember you are a gift to this creation, what you've been sent here to do. So take this little bit of thinking unto yourself. Think about yourself in a good way. And the a beautiful future that you're bringing forward for our people. So if you're lying quite comfortably now with your head down, um, I ask you to sit up, stand up, come back into this modern world because that's the way it would have been. You'd have been laying in your wigwam comfortably, peacefully listening to our understandings that we share at this time of year. But because we are in this modern time, I have to bring you back to sit up, maybe rub your eyes. If you fall asleep, that's okay. Your spirit heard what I said, but don't be shy. It was all goodness when we talked about that life that traveled the universe looking for Akikwe, found her. It lives here forever now. We call it forever home, which is an understanding that our philosophers have here on Turtle Island. When they ask that question, is there life out there? And we say, oh yeah, but it's outside of this creation. It's in all those older creations. It's what we come to understand because the life in this creation found this one here. So maybe there will come a time when ancient beings come here. Maybe they're already coming here to visit us. We don't know. Those are things maybe some of us see or our children will see. We ask you to sit up down, maybe have a good stretch, a good yawn. Same rest to you for listening to this. I ask you too, if you could have something sweet. I have some blueberries here I'm going to eat. Because my favorite animals are the big Mesa Zahgausgai, the dinosaurs, the reptiles. So I heard an elder, she said blue is the color of our relative, our reptile relatives. I try to have that as my berry. Think of those ones that came a long time ago. Just a little bit about them when we talk. I'm not saying this is the way it is, but maybe when the creator experimented, maybe that was one time. Because the history of the dinosaurs, my teacher, he said that they were here for, he said 7 species, but I think he meant 7 generations. Dinosaurs were here for 7 generations. You know, in the history of our Akikwe, that was 160 million years. 80 million years ago, they got called home. So they didn't quite see their 8th generation. That's where we're challenged right now. We haven't been here, not even one bit of that time. Already in that place of wondering if we're going to be the 8th. therefore we say we listen to our understandings, we see life in a good way.